Test. Thank you, Jodi. Test. Good morning, Tustin. Good morning. Can you hear me? Okay, good. They're just not responding yet. That's what it is. All right. Good morning, everyone. To those of you on campus braving the hot Tustin weather, thank you for being here. And for all of you online in your nice, cool, air-conditioned home, we're thinking of you. Welcome. I'm Jim DeFontis, and I'm the president of the board. And on behalf of the board, the ministry, and the staff, we welcome everyone to our church where we believe in one God, one heart, and many paths. I have a couple of announcements while everyone is getting settled in, so if you'll just bear with me. So first off, the bylaws passed. The changes that we made passed. It was really close. It was 52-0. So we want to thank you guys for those 52 of you who voted. Thank you very much. Those bylaws changes have to do with the board election process. We have 2 board members that will be terming out, Connie and Steve. And you'll be hearing from the newly formed election committee, which is going to be chaired by Kirk. Where are you, Kirk? I know you're here. Kirk over there, Mary Jean, and Lisa from the board. So we want to thank you 3 in advance for everything that you're going to be doing to make this an open, transparent, and democratic process. And Mary Jean, they're going to be getting something from you this week, right? So now that we have a formal process that's been codified by you, we want to move on selecting our new elective board members as soon as we can. As soon as that happens, then we'll announce when we'll be having our annual community meeting. So there's a lot coming, so check in with your email. All right, now that summer's here and the state's opening things up, the CDC's opening things up, we're trying to figure out what we can and should do on the community. So we've got a lot of things floating in the air. Some of you are a part of that thinking, creative, innovative process. We're thinking about having a succulent cell. We're thinking about having a rummage cell. We're thinking about having the Mutts do a barbecue. We're thinking about Annette's band performing live here with some line dancing and teaching. We're thinking about having a youth and family activity with maybe some things for the parents while the kids are playing, labyrinth walks, and we're actually thinking about after we get the tinning done and the painting done, that we might even have an open house for the community to meet all of us and for us to meet them and our spiritual ministry team, our youth and family people. Lots of excitement. We don't know where we're going to land, but we're going to land somewhere. So if you have any ideas or recommendations, I'll be at the back of the table and look forward to hearing your thoughts. All right, I'm going to do a little poll here. As you know, we've been open since July 19th outside, but we can go back inside now safely, and we're going to have enough room for the number of people that we have. We can easily handle 100 people now, according to the guidelines, and we're having anywhere between 65 and 90 people here on campus. So I think we'll be able to handle it safely, and we can handle people outside for those who want to be outside. But there's a number of you that like it outside. And so we need to figure out what the triggers are and what your recommendations or preferences are. So I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and I just want a show of hands. It's a safe place to vote. So the first question will be, do you want to go inside and just be inside most of the time? Or the second question will be, would you prefer to be outside most of the time unless it's really bad weather? We're not voting yet. I want you to know what your choices are. Unless it's bad weather, like rain or wind. And the third choice would be, would you like to have a hybrid where we would be able to determine what's the lowest temperature and the highest temperature that we would be out here, and so that you can predict when we'd be inside or outside. So just quickly, so I can get a sense, who would prefer to just move inside and not be outside so much? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. How many of you would prefer to be outside most of the time unless it's like raining or really, really windy? Okay. Really, really hot. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay. And who would like to have a hybrid of the two where it's kind of known, maybe it's 60 to 80 degrees, 60 to 85, and wind and rain? Raise your hand, a hybrid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, 14. All right, thank you guys very much. I'll be working this with the spiritual ministry team tomorrow at 4 o'clock and with the board Tuesday, so more to come. We want to meet your needs. It's not about us. It's about what you want and what you prefer, and we'll get back on our conversation. Reverend Shara reported to me last week that her salon was a success. It was a deep dive for her and a number of you starting at 12:30, where you're able to have an intimate conversation with her on her teaching and message and ask questions. So she's going to continue to do that. So whenever Shara's here, and she's here 2 Sundays in a row, she'll be having her salon. Where, I don't know if it'll be in the sanctuary or outside. But this is an opportunity for those of you who are interested to go deep one-on-one with, not one-on-one, but in a small group setting with Shara. All right. I've got some announcements from the office. An email went out last Thursday. This is an excellent email outlining the improvements underway on the Unity of Tustin campus. I hope those of you who are on the email list saw all the good work. I don't know who put that. Did you put that together, Mary Jean? It was so much fun to see all the activity that Connie is leading along with Mary Jean. So if you haven't seen it, take a look at it. You'll be so proud of all the work that the community is doing on our property and grounds. If you have any suggestions or recommendations on improvements, again, I'll be in the back. Next Sunday, we have a very exciting offering. We have a flyer in the back. And let me read this. It's a 6-week class called Move, Breathe, and Center Yourself with Morgan Dane. Morgan, you're here. Could you raise your hand? Great. So give her a round of applause. And you will be here after service at the table for anyone that's interested in understanding more about it, right? Great. There'll be more information about this class in next week's e-news. The class is $50 for the 6 weeks or $10 per class. Also, an exciting announcement. 2 weeks from today, there will be another drum circle with Matt Manning. The last one was well attended and was a great expression of our theme for this month, which is joy. And so that you know, another thing that we're working on is we're thinking about for you and perhaps for our Tustin and Santa Ana and Orange community and the millennials, coming up with an idea where on the first Sunday of each month, maybe we'll have a drum circle. And maybe on the second Sunday, we'll have ecstatic dancing. And maybe on the third Sunday, we'll have a labyrinth walk. And maybe on the fourth, we'll have healing from our Reiki and Healing Touch practitioners. So we're trying to expand more and more to come, but the drum circle will probably be the first one on the list for you. And then the last thing I'd like to say before we get to the order of service is that I'm hoping that you're seeing we're getting a little bit back to normal. We now have the brochure, which Christy's been handing out, and I'm hoping that you guys are getting one. This was very important to me back in the day. I always took one home, and it has some of our upcoming things. Marge started this many, many years ago. So it's kind of a marketing tool, an information tool, and we'd like your feedback on what we can do better. We now have the offering bags during the service, so that's also a lot of fun. And then hospitality is on its way. So, Susan, we thank you for what you've done as far as the beverages. And then the hospitality team is getting together, scheduling, figuring out what to do. And you guys will be back when? 2-3 weeks? Have we figured out yet? Not quite. Not yet. All right. Huh? The 21st. All right. Well, they'll be here 2 weeks. All right. So with that, let me go to the order of service. So today we have someone new for the very first time, Jodi Siegel. Hi, Jodi. She's an accomplished New Thought musician, and she plays with our very own Harold Payne. I think of Harold as one of our own. He's been with us forever, and we're looking forward to hearing from you. We have Bonnie, who will be doing the reading of the Daily Word. We have Reverend Blair giving us our message today. And then we have Mary Jean. You're doing the platform, right, still? Good. And so with that, I would like to thank you again for being here, and I hand it off to my wife, Annette.
Good morning, everyone. It's a beautiful day. Another glorious day from God. So we've come to the time where we sit back in our chairs and relax. Take that deep breath. Open your hearts, your minds. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
Good morning. My name is Bonnie Gosline. I'm a prayer chaplain here at Unity of Tustin. It's my honor to read the daily word and light the Christ candle for you. Let's take just one moment. If you have a cell phone, please silence it for the balance of the service. Sunday, June 13th, 2021, World Peace. The affirmation is, peace shared between people spreads throughout the world. And the scripture is, nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Micah 4:3. I contribute to world peace when I join in spirit with all people who dedicate themselves to expressing divine love, unified in the belief that God is within everyone. I affirm the divinity of humankind and honor each person as a unique expression of God. I recognize and release any unkind thoughts or feelings toward any person or group of people. I respect all others and seek to learn more about customs and beliefs that are unfamiliar to me as I grow in the spirit of kinship. I believe a warm, friendly attitude communicates my intentions as effectively as my words. I smile and extend myself to others in the spirit of friendship. I remain mindful that as peace flowers between individuals, peace grows in the world. And please repeat the affirmation with me. So I'll say it a little first quickly. Peace shared between people spreads throughout the world. Thank you.
So as we're gathered here in this moment, I invite you to close your eyes if they're not already. Dear living presence, we give thanks for this time together, for the symbol of light that is our Christ candle, for that light that is within us. May we see it, may we let it burn brightly, and may it shine as a beacon of love and life, wisdom and joy for us for each other and for the world. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God. Amen.
On this sacred journey of the soul, ooh, yes I know, yes I know, I am truly blessed, perfect and whole. Yes, I know. Yes, I know. When one door closes, one more opens. For I know the wonders never cease. One day ends, another begins. And with wings upon my feet, I am spinning, weaving truth in motion, taking flight as I believe that these gifts here before me are my calling to receive. On this sacred journey of the soul, ooh, yes I know. Yes, I know. I am truly blessed, perfect and whole. Yes, I know. Yes, I know. As the sunlight shadows start to fall, a silhouette of color paints the wall, a reflection of the one and all my heart desires. I am grateful now that I can serve in the name of love, and rest assured that this journey I am on is filled with passion, prayer, and fire. On this sacred journey of the soul, yes, I know. Yes, I know. I am truly blessed, perfect and whole. Yes, I know. Yes, I know. Yes, I know. Yes, I know.
Thank you, Jodi. Very nice. Very nice. Well, let's take a journey into our hearts. So I invite you to close your eyes, to connect with your breath, aware of the breathing in and the breathing out. And many years ago, I was curious about the images of the triple flame of the heart of Jesus. So I meditated deeply for weeks and weeks and weeks. And what was revealed that the triple flame was first of all love, then gratitude, and then joy. And so today I want us to breathe with that flame of joy that is right at the center of our being. breathe with that joy and recognize it as a part of your essential nature. It's a part of the Christ equipment that we have for this journey of life. And breathing with that joy, that flame of joy ignites in greater and greater ways. And in that flame of joy, we are able to see the things of our life, the challenges, the difficulties, the detours, the disappointments, the frustrations, the illnesses, even death, with that light of the Christ understanding. And joy teaches us that all these experiences, the ones that we judge good, the ones that we judge bad, are all a part of this journey of deepening joy. We see Spirit embracing all things. We see love at work in and through all things. We see order unfolding. And with the gratitude, there is that joy that continues to rise in our awareness. And so I invite you to turn your attention with that joy to the things in your life that you are grateful for. And turn your attention also with gratitude to the things in your life that you're not grateful for. And see joy filling and flaming and blessing each thing with that Christ understanding and that Christ peace. And then now just take many moments now, breathing with that joy in the silence. And dear living presence, as we know and feel and see your joy permeating us, permeating all of the universe, we are ready to see ourselves in a new way as agents for your joy, to bring joy to greater expression. As we deepen our sense, we broaden our giving of joy to the world. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God. In this awareness, we bless all those who are on our prayer list. We bless those that are in our minds and hearts, and see your work of healing and life and joy moving in greater and greater ways in each heart and mind and body. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Amen.
Make soulful merriment, be of good cheer. With reckless abandonment, this is your high life. Ain't it a fine ride indeed? Got no clouds in the sky. So be light-hearted, then happiness is yours. Be light-hearted, what are you waiting for? It's there for the taking, and there's no mistaking that smile. Yeah, it lights up for miles. Go explore your options, look at all your choices. Wouldn't you rather be glad than sad? This love's a revelation too wonderful to miss. Say bye to your bygones, bye-bye so long. And be of good cheer, be bright and sunny, be of good cheer. 'Cause don't you know everything is kind of funny when you look at it that way? It's impossible to stay in the negative. Oh, just live and let live. Yeah, be of good cheer. Dry your tears and forget about it. I just got rid of a bug on my guitar, see? Go explore your options. Oh, look at all those choices. Wouldn't you rather be glad than sad? Oh, this love's a revelation too wonderful to miss. Say bye to your bygones, bye-bye so long. Be a good cheer, be bright and sunny, be of good cheer. 'Cause that bug on my guitar was kind of funny when you look at it that way. It's impossible to stay in the negative. Oh, just live and let live, and be a good cheer. Dry your tears and forget about it. Thank you.
Jodi? Yeah. Well, I don't know about you, but when I was a child, I was a melancholy child. I used to write cowboy laments. sad songs. This is like when I was 5 or 6. I would write these cowboy laments, and I would get so sad I would cry. And that's the way it was. And I got a little bit better in elementary school and high school, but it was finally when I was in college. There was a music professor who taught the graduate classes, and I was sitting in on some of those classes. And he gave us an exercise one day. He stood us up at different positions around the room. And he said, I want you to think if you only had one more word to speak for the rest of your life, what would that be? Of course, one guy came up right away with Rosebud from the movie Citizen Kane. But I stood there in the way that he positioned me, and I was thinking, so if I only had one word, what would it be? And I felt an energy rising up in me, and I couldn't quite identify it with it. And I stayed with it for probably 10, 15 minutes, just waiting for it to rise up into my awareness. And as it got closer to my awareness, I realized the word was joy. And it was such a foreign word to me at that time. And so I was watching that, and it came up, and then I said, joy. I said it out loud, and there was just this amazing release of energy. And I connected with it in a way. And I moved into a whole different experience because of that in my life. And so we can live in that space of being melancholy, or we can live in that space of being aware that there's this energy inside of us, this joy energy that wants to come out. And one of my first Unity ministers was Sig Paulson, and he loved acronyms. That's why I do so many acronyms, because of him. And his acronym for joy, J-O-Y, is just open yourself. Just open yourself, because it's there. It's there. And if you're holding back and holding on to those things, that those bygones that Jodi sang about, say goodbye to them and open up and let that joy rise in our lives in a different way. When we do that, we open up to a larger flow of love, a larger flow of peace, a larger flow of connection, a larger flow of abundance in our lives. Just opening ourselves allows us to connect with that richness that God has given us. Always. It's always there. Jesus tells a story. This is in Matthew 13:44. He says, a man was plowing a field. And so we don't know, as the story goes on, we realize he didn't own the field. So he was either a hired hand or a tenant farmer. But Jesus says, a man was plowing a field, and he finds a treasure buried in the field. And with joy, he goes and sells everything else he has so he can buy that field. And that's the story. It's just that long. And so we have to sort of look at that story for ourselves. Part of it, for me, is as you're doing the things in life that you're doing, pay attention, because there may be buried treasure right there that you haven't seen. The other thing that comes to me as I hear this story is that there is joy hidden. And when we find it, do what we need to embrace it. That farmer sold everything else so he could lay hold of that treasure that was there. And of course, Jesus isn't just talking about material treasure. He's talking about spiritual treasure for us, to lay hold of that in our lives. So I want to talk about 4 things to do with joy. To live from joy, to celebrate joy in your own way, to share with joy, and to open to greater joy in your life. So this idea of living from joy, one of my favorite phrases in life is that the reason that angels can fly is that they take themselves lightly. Yeah. How many times during our day are we sort of trudging along because of the things, the way that we see them, and we've missed the good, we've missed the joy, and we're so focused on what's wrong, on the dark side of life. And our culture teaches us that when we have financial setbacks, when business closes, when relationships end, when we have illnesses, that's a failure. And really they make it more personal. They say, you're a failure. But failure is just a moment for new choices. And I always like the phrase, someone said, when you fail, fail forward. And so you get up and you choose something new, and you do something in a different way. And out of that failure, out of that seeming ending, comes a new beginning. And so if we learn that whenever those endings come, it's just an opportunity for us to get up and keep moving in our lives. When I was studying the course called Keys to the Kingdom, it's a prosperity course, he does a section on gratitude. And in there he says that if you look at your life, about 10% of your life is what we focus on as being bad. About 90% of our life is good. Maybe 95% of our life is good. And so where are we going to focus? On the 10% that isn't working or that 90% that is working? And as I was teaching the class one time, one of the women the next week came back. She says, well, I looked at my life and I figured out that 99% of my life is good. And so I'm going to stop complaining about that 1%. And so finding that sense that we can live from joy in our lives. And as we do that, it infects us. Joy is infectious. And of course, first of all, we want to get a good infection of it in our own consciousness so that we can share it with others. We'll come to that in a minute. In looking at joy, what I found is that as I focus on joy, it grows and it abounds. And that it's not that we're saying that life isn't important and the difficulties aren't important, but isn't it a joy to be alive? We can say it's even a joy to have these challenges because they cause us to grow. They cause us to see things in a new way, to do things that we wouldn't have done before. And so there's a joy in that as it rises up in our lives. And so the rule that I have for myself is that I'll tell my sad story once, and then I'll see what new choices I have. Because I don't want to hear that sad story again myself. I want to hear a new story. So the sign in American Sign Language for joy is this. So it's like you're opening your heart, opening the gift that you have inside. So I just invite you to think that when you're talking to someone, you can talk to them, and they don't even know that you're doing the sign, but you can do that sign just when you're talking about those things in your life that you want to share and celebrate of the joy. So that comes us to the celebrate the joy in your life. And I have another clear moment of memory as I was a music major. There were a group of us with our professor, and we were rehearsing one of Mozart's Divertimento. And we students were just being silly. And our professor goes, "This is serious music." And I go, "No, it's not. It's meant to divert our attention and to be fun." And so we can get that way about our spirituality too. We can be so serious about our spirituality and our spiritual growth. And we forget that there's images of the laughing Buddha, the laughing Jesus, that yes, it's serious, but it's also about joy, and to celebrate that in our lives. And to look at those aspects where we sometimes have those challenges and say, about my health, what can I be joyful about my health? At least I'm upright, right? Most of my things move the way I want them to move. My eyes work, my ears work. So celebrate those things that work. And in your finances, you may not have all that you want, but do you have some of what you want? Then have a sense of joy about that. In your relationships, are your relationships the way that you want them to be? Probably not completely. But you have relationships, some people don't, so have a sense of joy and gratitude that there is something already present in your life for you to celebrate. And as you give that celebration to it, it opens you up to even greater thing. Again, remember that sign for joy. It opens us up to something more. And so that takes us to then sharing with joy. Sharing with joy. It's interesting that when we talk about church growth, they have all these different things that you can do. But through the decades, why people usually come to church? Because somebody invited them. Somebody told them about, and they brought it. And what I've noticed is sometimes the person that brought them doesn't stay around for more than a few years, but that other person comes, and all of a sudden, they've anchored themselves in a whole deeper way in that. And so recognizing that for us, sharing with that joy, again, helps first of all acknowledge that joy for us, but then it connects others with the joy as well. There's a phrase I heard just a couple weeks ago. It's called post-traumatic growth. And we all heard of post-traumatic, stress syndrome. But what this psychologist was saying, that post-traumatic growth is something that we've all experienced. We've all had difficulties, we've all had challenges, we've all had illnesses, we've all had death in our families. But out of that trauma, there was some kind of growth. And she talked about what makes that work. And first of all, being present to the pain that we're feeling, whether it's physical or psychological. having social connections. And the third thing that she said really promotes post-traumatic growth is giving support to others. Giving support to others helps us move past that sense of being put down by the things of life and helps us have that sense of growing into something new, growing into a greater sense of good. And so I wanted for us to look at this value that we have for our church. We've been looking at the values the past couple months, and this one is joy. And here's what the came up with at that time. I think it was a couple years ago. For joy, we live from a positive view of the world and celebrate life. So that's a part of our values. And there's 3 behaviors that are outlined. We live the joy that is in us and share it with others. It's contagious. So again, we live the joy that is in us. And what's the sign for joy? Share it with others. We share it with others. We let it out. We create community through laughter, fun, and music, right? And again, weren't we smiling when Jodi was playing her song there? And so it's recognizing that we create those ways of doing that. And Jim talked earlier about the drumming circle and those other events that are planning. And we certainly know that the kids bring a lot of joy to when we have them on campus. And so it's recognizing that that's a part of our spiritual community. We've identified that that works for us. The third behavior is we express our joy and passion through our outreach activities. So again, giving support to others. And so even though the people at that time for our church who set these didn't know about post-traumatic growth and how to grow through it, they knew it at a deeper level, right? They knew it and they expressed it. And so we recognize that as we share our joy, it's not just something that we do for ourselves, but it's something that we do for the whole world, to live in that joy. Because there's sort of a psychic energy. Gary and I talked about this a couple weeks ago. There's sort of this psychic energy around our planet of all the pain, the disappointment, the illness, like that. And sometimes when we're meditating, we get stuck and we don't go to that universal level. And so it's important for us to recognize that, yes, that race consciousness is there, but we're connected to something greater. We're connected to that wisdom of God, the life of God, the joy of God, that Christ consciousness. And part of that is joy. And for us to know that and to share it. And so then the last part here, open ourselves to greater good, to greater joy. Again, just open yourself. I love this version of the words of Jesus in Luke 12:32. And it uses Abba as the name for God rather than Father, the way that we use here. And Abba means beloved. It is Abba's good pleasure to have delivered the kingdom to you. Listen to that again. It is Abba's good pleasure to have delivered the kingdom to you. In other words, God's not waiting. God's already given it to us. And so we want to see that. Do I know all about God's kingdom? No. Do I understand all of God's kingdom? No. That means I need to open myself. I need to open myself in my understanding and my experience of taking it in and letting it out, letting it grow in life. And another phrase I heard just last week is someone talked about people's environmental conditioning. In other words, that's the stuff that happened to them, mostly as they were growing up. But again, it's outer conditioning and inner conditioning, the choices, the stories we make about the things that happen to us. But the key is that whatever that story was, we can open ourselves to something more. We can open ourselves in a greater and greater way to the blessings in our health. We may say, well, my body works okay. Well, let's open up to even more life, more vitality, more energy. Well, my relationships are okay. Well, is that what you want? Okay. Or do you want amazing, fantastic, joyous? And say, how can I open myself and not wait for the other person to be different? Well, if only they were nicer to me, well, then I'd be nicer to them. Don't wait for them. Decide that you're going to be open in a greater way. And whether it's any part of your life, your finances, just even your sense of peace, you may have in prayer, have a wonderful sense of peace. Open yourself to more. God's already delivered it. We might as well open ourselves to it in a greater way and be on the lookout for greater good. For those of you who are, science fiction fans, they talk about wormholes, where there's sort of this path through the dimensions, from one part of space to another part of space, and sort of like a shortcut. Well, imagine that you are at one end of a wormhole for God's joy, and that it's being delivered to you wherever you are, whether you're paying attention or not. That joy, you're at the end of that, and it's focused on you, and it's coming to you. So one of the ways to practice this, there's a wonderful Unity minister, John Adams, came up with a prayer treatment for unexpected income. And I love this. You go, well, unexpected income, I didn't expect that. That's the idea. Why not expect it? Why not expect new good in your life? So Mayor and Christy have a handout of this with a bunch of affirmations and a little piece at the end to see if you want to commit to this and have prayer support from our silent prayer team. And we'll read through it once everybody has a hold of this. But what I love about this is that it gives us a sense that we're going through life and we sort of have these limited expectations about what our time frame is going to look like, what response we're going to get from others, how much money we're going to get, how much life and energy we can expect. Why not expect something more? Why not open ourselves? Just open ourselves to something greater in our life. So that's what this is about, a prayer treatment for unexpected income. And they're busy handing them out. That's great. See, isn't it nice to have so many people here? It takes a long time to do this. Rather than saying, why is this taking so long? Well, it's because we have so many people here. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Better than a fly on the guitar. Yay. More help on the way. It's fun. Okay, so some of you have this already. So I invite you to look at, and let's just read through these because I like them. I use these. So let's just read one and then stop, and so that it sort of registers a little bit. So let's read that first one. I believe God is the source of all supply, and money is God in action and should be used for good. There's some people in our minds, that money is evil. Money is the root of all evil. And that's the love of money, separate from anything else. It's the root of all evil. Money is just energy, and energy is God. All right, let's read the second one. I believe my good is now freely flowing to me so bountifully, I cannot use its all. I have abundance to spare and to share today and always, and the wisdom to rightly use it. I love that. I love that how John Adams added that in there. And then this one, I am expecting unexpected income. Let's say it like we mean it. I am expecting unexpected income. Let's go on. I believe God is now giving this to me, and I accept this as truth and give thanks. Let's go on. All channels of financial supply are now open to me, and I am richly, bountifully, and beautifully prospered in every good way. You can add your own adjectives and adverbs in there if you want. That's fine. Let's read the next one. I believe true prosperity includes the demonstration of right living conditions, right activity, and right kinds of happiness. And again, we can add health, supportive and loving relationships. You can add whatever you want to this as you go on. Let's read the next one. This word, which I speak in faith, believing, now activates the law of increased universal good for me, and I expect to see rich results now. Now. Let's go on. I visualize the financial good I expect. I see it coming to me richly and abundantly. I claim and accept it for myself now. I am grateful in advance. I bless all the good I now have and bless the increase. I bless all others in the unexpected income program. And I know we are now all prospering together in every good way and share the good we receive. Now with that, we could go back and rewrite all of these that we've done so far in we, in that sense of that third person plural, if you want to do that. Okay, so now this next one, read it silently first and decide if you want to say it out loud. I'm not going to make you say it out loud if you don't want to. I now freely give my tenth to God's good work. My giving is making me rich. So some people are afraid of that. But again, we're not asking you, if you're not tithing already, to tithe on but just this unexpected income. You weren't expecting it anyway, so why not give away 10%? We had one guy when we did this, he got an unexpected inheritance during this program. And he was really troubled. He says, do I have to tithe 10% from this income? I said, that's up to you. I'd do it. Why hold back? What are you afraid of? You got this extra money you didn't expect anyways. Why not be generous? So if you're ready to say it out loud, say it with me now. I now freely give my tenth to God's good work. My giving is making me rich. This goes on. God gives to me rich, lavish financial blessings now. This is so. I am grateful. Thank you, Mother, Father, God. And then in parentheses down below, just like once or twice a day, this is your prescription. Again, it's up to you. But again, I invite you to step into this. And so there's a little piece at the bottom. If you want to have prayer support from the silent prayer team, fill out the bottom. And again, Christy's got pens if you don't have one. And sign it and date it. Again, this is not because we need a copy of this, because this is between you and God if you want to do this. But it's just a way of connecting and getting that support for the next 60 days. And watch what happens. Watch what happens. Expect unexpected good. Just open yourself to greater good in your lives. So there's a wonderful poem by the Muslim mystic Hafez called A Friend of the Universe. And he uses a couple phrases in there for God. The way he talks about God as friend, and he also at one point refers to God as the beautiful, drunk, singing one. So when you get to that, know that that's his way of talking about God. So here's what he says to us. Light will someday split you open, even if your life is now a cage. For a divine seed, the crown of destiny is hidden and sown on an ancient fertile plain you hold the title to. Let the plane go by. Love will surely bust you wide open into an unfettered, blooming new galaxy, even if your mind is now like a spoiled mule. A life-giving radiance will come. The friend's gratuity will come. Oh, look again within yourself, for I know you were once the elegant host to all the marvels of creation. From a sacred crevice in your body, a bow rises each night and shoots your soul into God. Behold the beautiful drunk singing one from the lunar vantage point of love. He is conducting the affairs of the whole universe while throwing a wild party in a treehouse on a limb in your heart. Just open yourself, right? God's throwing a party all the time. Why not be open to it and be a part of it? In Paul's second letter to Timothy, he writes, stir up that gift of God within you. In other words, just open yourself. Just open yourself to that. Open yourself to God's greater good. Be open to it in every part of your life. Let God's joy grow you to greater good. To greater good to know and to show. Greater joy to live and to give. Just open yourself. Thanks, Jodi.
Thank you, Reverend Blair, for that joyful message. I just want to take a moment to welcome anyone who's here for the first time. If you're willing to raise your hand, we have a welcome packet for you. Anybody here for the first time today? Well, welcome back, everybody. And as Blair said, sometimes the best way or the most successful way or the most used way is for someone to bring someone to church. So if you know someone who would benefit from being at one of our services, especially at this lovely outdoor setting, please invite them, or even at our lovely indoor setting, which we might be seeing pretty soon. So, okay. And Reverend Blair was saying if you want to turn the bottom part of that piece of paper in, you can put it in the offering basket, or you can put it in the prayer box over there by the restrooms. So I just want to mention that this week's email that outlined all of the improvements on our campus is a way to keep you informed about what's happening here at Unity of Tustin. Most of you know that our community is totally supported by donations. And this work that we're doing is an act of courage and stepping out in faith, because that's what we're called to do. We're called to step out in faith. And we know that the buildings have needed this attention for quite a while. The exciting part is coming up with the painting, which will be a demonstration, but all the other prep work is so important, things that we really had to do. But they're costly things. So we ask you to consider making a gift toward this improvements on our campus that will be ongoing. And of course, for the support of our spiritual home. People who come here, we had some people here yesterday at a wedding who talked about, they didn't use necessarily the term energy, but they used what a lovely sacred setting this is. So join me in saying the prayer for the blessing of our tithes and love offerings. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And as the ushers come around with the giving baskets, Jodi has another song for us.
All right. Can you hear the drummer out there? Works cheap. The sky looks dark on the horizon. The forecast calls for rain. Torrential winds rocking these waters just like a hurricane. But judge not by appearances what's naked to the eye. It's underneath the ocean deep where currents pull the tide. I'm talking about love, 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 and the invisible supply of everything, more than enough of it to go around. Now there's a place inside I go to be quietly engaged and turn my fear and apprehension into extraordinary strength. From that moment on, I'm not alone or separate from the host, knowing that truth comes by design down that open road. See, it's all about love, 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 and the invisible supply of everything, and more than enough of it to go around. It's all about love, 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 and the invisible supply of everything, and more than enough of it to go around. around the bend, then reflections turn to resolutions again and again. It's all about love, 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 the invisible supply of everything, more than enough of it to go around. It's all about love, love, and the invisible supply of everything, and more than enough of it to go around. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jodi. It's been such a pleasure to have you with us today. And so the prayer chaplain, who's our prayer chaplain for today that will be standing by the... Bonnie will be with you to pray with you today. She'll be standing by the entrance to the meditation gardens. If you have something on your heart that you'd like to pray for, like to offer gratitude, like to offer joy. And if you have any questions, Jim is back there to answer your questions or take your suggestions. And so before we say the prayer for protection, just remember that this week, you can also meet with Morgan. Morgan is going to be back there to answer questions about the class coming up. So let's say the prayer for protection together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Go forth and find joy in the journey. Thank you.